Hi guys! So this is my first time actually making an educational video, and since it is my first time, I just decided to do one of the simple topics or one of the things that you have to memorize in Chemistry 101. And since I'm actually learning this myself, I might get tripped up a little bit, so just bear with me. How I memorize it is I memorize it from the middle outwards. Now, in our chemistry class, we have to memorize it all the way from exa to atto, and I have a hard time doing that, especially looking at the numbers with a bunch of zeros. So how I do it is that I memorize it by the exponent multiplier, which is a lot easier since you could just write it out afterwards. So kilo is one of the most important units that you have to memorize simply because it is used everywhere. It is used kilograms, kilometers, and it's pretty much used all over the world. So just how I memorize it is it's 10 to the third or 10 cubed. Now from here you can go outwards or downwards. The higher you go up, the more positive the exponents are, and the more you go down, the more negative the exponents become. So this is how I personally separate it. Going up to the positives, I separate tera, giga, and mega. And going downwards, I separate it from deci, centi, and milli. Now, we can start to the negatives first. Now, we already know that decimal, you will have to put point something, and it's going to be smaller than 0. So the exponent for that would be a -1. For centi, you just go even smaller to a -2. And for milli, you go even smaller to the exponent of -3. Now, as you notice, this focus on these two multipliers and memorize this one specifically as century, which is 100 years, and milli as millennium would be 1,000 years. So decimal, centi, deci, centi, and milli. It goes all the way down, and the larger it gets in years, the smaller the exponents become. So that's how you can memorize these three. Now, the next one is mega, giga, and tera. How I memorize it is that in computer terms, a terabyte is going to be larger than a gigabyte. So in the same way that this is -1, -2, and -3, this would increase. The only thing is that it's not going to be -1, -2, and -3. It's actually going to be 10 to the 6th, 10 to the 9th, and 10 to the 12th. Those are going to be the exponents for it. So if you look at it from just starting from kilo, it would start off with 3, 6, 9, 12, and it creates this pattern which you can memorize going all the way up to the positives. So mega would be, just kind of like a plus from kilo, like Mega Man, woo! That would be 10 to the 6, 10 to the 9, 10 to the 12. So 3, 6, 9, 12, and going down, it would just be -1, -2, and -3. Just imagine kilos being a part of the positives and creating that pattern. Now, going even further down, we're going to try to memorize micro, nano, and pico. Now, you would also notice that these terms here can also be used in the same computer terms as over here. Like if you would imagine like terabyte, gigabyte, micro, nano. See, it's just this one is more positive and this one's going more negative. This one is getting larger, this one is getting smaller. So how you can memorize these ones is that these are corresponded to the positive number, sorry, tripping up on my words. So 10 to the negative 6, 10 to the negative 9, and 10 to the negative 12. I'm not sure if you can see that right here, but mega, giga, and tera, 6, 9, 12. Micro, nano, and pico, negative 6, negative 9, and negative 12. So micro, small. Nano, even tinier, just like nanotechnology. For Pico, a lot of people might have a hard time understanding or trying to memorize what Pico is, but me being an anime fan, I just remember that Pico can be memorized by memorizing Boku no Pico. And I know it's Japanese and it makes no sense, but like, they're freaking 12-year-olds and they look like 12-year-olds and you don't really want that, hence the negative. No, I don't want that. Negative 12. And that's just how I personally memorize it. I really don't know how else to do it. So pretty much you're left off with these last two prefix multipliers. Peta, exa, going even more positive, and femto and atto going even more negative with the multipliers. So peta and exa would be 10 to the 15th and then 10 to the 18th, while femto and atto would be 10 to the negative 15 and 10 to the negative 18. I really don't have anything to memorize peto and exa and F and A. I guess like PE and FA, you could just memorize those. But in terms of the exponents and the placeholders, this goes along with all of these two. Like this one increases by 3s and this one increases down by 3s. Like deci, centi, and milli is the only exception to that. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And then negative 3, negative 6, negative 9, negative 12, negative 15, negative 18. So this here, you could just remember P, 15, E, 18, F, 15, and A, 18. And those are the ones that are a little bit harder to memorize, and it's just a little bit more difficult to get into your head, but there are only 4 ones that you have to memorize, and the rest you can just follow this specific pattern. So yeah, I don't know if it helps much, but this is just how I categorize it. I go from the inside out and use a little bit of my personal life to be able to memorize it and a little bit of patterns. So hopefully this helps as well. And yeah, thank you for watching my first educational video, and I wish you luck on chemistry class because I'm going through the same thing as well. So yeah, good luck!